Okay, this video is looking at how you can use technology to make assessment of topic tests and SACs more efficient. I am going to be looking at these two as items of formative assessment as opposed to summative assessment, as I strongly believe that the only summative assessment that there really can be is an exam, an end of year exam. And even that exam should be reflected upon and learned from. Um, but anyway, we're going to look at SACs first of all. The way that we've done our SACs this year for further maths, but this can easily apply to any SAC, and it can apply to topic tests as well, but topic tests are usually a lot shorter. The SAC I'm going to be using today is the data analysis SAC that we did this year, and this SAC is quite a long SAC. It has to go for at least 4 hours. Now, I'll just scroll through. You can see here we have mark allocation, which you would have for any assessment task, really. So with these assessment pieces, we do the marking not on the exam, but in an Excel spreadsheet, similar to how you would mark an exam. So the further maths exam and other VCE exams are all done online as opposed to a bit of paper. So we just mark along here. So I'll show you a blank one. So we have the question number, and then we type in the mark that the student has got. So if I type in, say, 1 and so on, you can see as I typed in that these outcomes would change. So before we develop that, we go through each question and do the outcome allocation and make sure that the outcomes are equally weighted as they are required to be as per VCAR rules. So if I just go back to the Excel spreadsheet, now along the bottom here, we have the overall student information and the 3 classes results. This is just a template, and then we have all the students. So I won't show you the students because all their names are there, but there are about 70 students. And to create these sheets requires a bit of knowledge of Excel. Now, I know a bit about Excel, but I didn't know how to do what I wanted it to do. So in Excel, I basically wanted it to recreate this sheet. I wanted to give it a list of names and create the tabs for me. So basically create those tabs, copy this to each student, and then if I just go here, there would be the student's name and then all the data here. And it is quite complicated, especially if you have quite a few students like we did. So 60 students in a class, it wouldn't take too long to copy and paste, but I was looking for the most easiest and quickest way to do that. So I did draw on Google, the IT staff, and a friend who was quite a bit of an expert in Excel, so he was very helpful in getting it done. And once it was created, we were just able to copy and paste it for the next 3 SACs. And for next year, I assume that the same format will be used. We'll just be able to change the names. So if we go back to this student here, you can see the SAC total out of 100. So she did really well and got 97. So this is the feedback that the student will get. And there was, as I said before, there was no marking on the actual exam. So they get this sheet back, not on the exam, on the SAC. So they get this sheet back with the SAC. And then they have to watch a video going through the solutions. So if I just open up Screencast-O-Matic, okay, so we'll just get out of there. And I've created quite a few videos, so just need to go to, where is it? Was it April, maybe June? Okay, so we can see here. So we had them separated into their sections, so part A, B, C, and we did that because you really got to try to keep the videos to about 15 minutes. So you can see here, this one, these have gone over, and this one has gone over, but I find that 15 to 20 minutes is doable. If you go too long, especially if you're not very entertaining, the students might get a little bit bored. So let's just see one video. I won't play it, but I'll just scroll on the bottom here. So as as you can see, I've scanned in the solutions and I talk to the solution. So I would talk about how to get the answer, what they should have done. So there's nothing written there other than the solution. So sometimes you'd give students the solutions and then they have to go away and you would assume they would look at them. For this, they have to watch the video and then correct their own work. So the students got back their their unmarked SAC. Then they had to watch these videos and then had to make the corrections and then show us that they had made these corrections. So it was quick for us because we were easily able to put the marks into Excel, but they were getting, I think, more valuable feedback by watching the video and then making the corrections themselves, because there is research out there that shows that students, if they just get a mark, that's all they look at, they won't necessarily look at the feedback. So my aim in doing this was to get students to actually think about the feedback, and they had to do that. It was a part of their assessment. Okay, so let's go back and I'll show you another one. So where are we? Let's go to a recent Year 10 test. So with my Year 10 class, I kind of did a similar approach. I didn't need to use Excel because the test was quite short, so I just did the corrections on the actual test, but I still created a video for them. So this one here goes for 20 minutes. So something that they could watch in a lesson if they needed to, and then ask for help. And they do pause it. So even though this video goes for 23 minutes, they will still pause it. Okay, so it will take longer for them to work through it. So I used here Desk Scribble. So Desk Scribble, I have my little tablet plugged into the computer and it enables me to write. Desk Scribble is the best application I could find. I do have to pay for it, but it does exactly what I want it to do. And I had been using other free ones and they never did what I wanted to. And if I wanted it to do more, I usually had to pay. So I just thought, well, I'll pay for it. It was, I think, $15 a year. I also pay for Screencast-O-Matic, but I find it very valuable. My work would probably pay for it, but I don't, it's not much money, but you could probably approach your school and say, oh, look, this is a valuable tool. Could you pay for it? All right, let's just scroll through here so you can see. I would be talking as I go through this. So Desk Scribble helps you fill it in so you can see you're writing it straight away. This test I didn't have any solutions on there, so I did the solutions as we went through. You see there my writing's not the best, but because you're talking as well, the handwriting isn't that important. With this class, they use this video to improve. So they had two tests. They had this first test. If they wanted to improve, they were able to watch the video and do a second test, and they got the average of the two tests. So let's say this test was out of 40. If they got 40 out of 40, there was no point on them doing a retest. They could watch the video if they wanted to, but let's say a student got 30 out of 40, they would have watched the video and did a retest. It obviously depends on the students, but I think giving students that incentive to watch it, to say, well, if you're going to make the effort to do this extra work, to watch and reflect on how you went, then I'm going to reward you by giving you some extra marks. All right, I might just put the PowerPoint back up to make sure that I've covered everything. Okay, so I think the most valuable thing is that students can watch the videos when they want to. So you might think in class, oh, let's go through this test today. How many of your students do you actually think are listening to you? It's nothing against you, but you have no idea what is happening inside their head. So if you create a video, they can watch it in class if you want them to, or they could watch it at home, or they could do both. Okay, they can stop and start it, and they've got that flexibility. It might seem quite time consuming, but these SAC videos that I've created will be used next year. So the students in 2017, when they have the practice SACs, they can watch the video along with the practice SACs. Okay, and it would be very interesting to see how they find that experience and all the other tests. So, you know, even though it was created for this year's cohort of students, and mind you, this is 70 students, so one teacher doing the work for all three classes, and so we share the load. But next year, you know, they're going to be used again, and the following year they're going to be used again. So the teacher is saving time in that sense as well. Okay, I'll stop there because I didn't want it to go for too long.